Well, hello and welcome. I'm Lloyd Grimshaw, and this is the next episode of Behind the Plymouth Brethren, a not-so-exclusive podcast. Music's a big part of the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church community. We sing hymns at every church meeting, so we learn to carry a tune through the sheer amount of practice we get, and many of us can play an instrument. We even have a music subscription service called Trove. It has a growing library of cover songs and originals by church members. The driving force behind a lot of that music is Bill Baker. I'd like to welcome Bill and his wife Hannah to this episode of Behind the Plymouth Brethren. Hannah and Bill, welcome to the podcast. Could you please introduce yourself for our listeners?
Thanks, Lloyd. I'm Hannah Baker, a member of the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church and a mum of 3 girls aged 10, 9 and 4. I've worked in several roles in a couple of family businesses, and I studied small business management and marketing in my first job out of school. Outside of work, I enjoy entertaining family and friends and being outdoors, doing things together with our young family, and I enjoy interior design. I thoroughly enjoy being a mother, and although it is challenging at times, it is even more rewarding.
I'm Bill, father of 3 girls, as you've heard, so somewhat outnumbered. I grew up in West Ryde, Sydney, and later in my youth lived in Argentina for 8 years along with my family. That was an interesting experience, supporting our church there. And today I'm CEO of Protector. We supply products to the construction industry, and I'm also involved in the Mast Music Productions initiative, which is our community music arm. We work with musicians around the world to produce music for our Trove music app, and also more recently for the Voices of the Brethren video series that's on social media.
8 years in Argentina, that must have been quite an experience.
Yeah, it was. It was a fascinating experience. It's a great country with excellent people and a lot of potential. We formed a lot of great links there and friendships which continue to this day. It certainly broadened my horizons, and I got to learn Spanish as well as part of the deal, so that was a good life skill to have on board.
So why is it, do you think, the Brethren community is so musical?
Look, I don't think we're any more musical than anyone else, but we do sing a lot together, as you alluded to, especially on Sundays. We sing about 20 hymns early on a Sunday morning together without any guidance or accompaniment music. We also enjoy music when we get together socially, whether it be listening with friends or playing some instruments together.
So apart from singing, you do play some instruments yourself, or?
Yeah, I'm just an amateur guitarist and sometimes play the bass as well. But grew up playing music with my father and my brother, who both play the piano, and also always enjoyed singing and harmonising with my sisters and my brother. We still try and have a sing-along when we get together to this day.
What about you, Hannah? You're musical too, or?
No, I wouldn't call myself musical. I did have music lessons growing up, and I was the drummer in a girl band during high school. Although I like listening to good music now, I don't really play instruments much myself anymore.
So a girl band, that sounds pretty interesting. Can you tell us about that?
It's a bit of a cringe to talk about now. We were called Pink Friday. I'm not sure where the name came from, but we had a lot of fun. We mostly practiced in each other's houses and then performed in front of several hundred community members at a time, mostly in the Hunter region, but also in other parts of the state.
So did you compose your own songs, or?
No, we were a cover band. We played songs like Mamma Mia by ABBA and You Raise Me Up by Josh Groban, to name a few. We definitely weren't the most polished or professional band around, but it was really fun, and a lot of effort goes into performing a song, and it was great to get dressed up and play songs in front of a happy crowd. The experience taught me a lot of life lessons as well. Some of those were working as a team. Everyone has something different to offer, and then working together to the same goal. And then also it gave me the confidence to stand up in front of a large crowd.
So what about your own daughters? Are you going to encourage them to become drummers too, or?
They would like to. And it's a bit hard for me to say no to drums in the house when I put my mum and dad and family through many, many hours of noisy drum practice. So we'll see what happens with that. Our girls do have piano lessons, and they are interested in a few other instruments as well. So which I fully support and encourage them in learning.
Right. So all 5 of you. So one day we might see the Baker Band.
No way. No.
What about you, Bill? Were you in a boy band or?
No, just some family bands over the years. I remember one time, a bit of a memorable one, it went a bit pear-shaped. It wasn't long after we came back from Argentina and we were actually performing a Spanish song called Si me haces falta. And I forgot some of the words, so I just made up a few lines, and no one realised except for my sisters. They weren't impressed, that's for sure.
So that does sound memorable. Where did you get involved in the MAST initiative?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a long story, but I've always been interested in music and love working with people. And early in 2020, I got involved with helping to coordinate our global virtual choir, working in partnership with One School Global, actually. And that was a very inspiring production to be a part of. It was a 3D audio-visual production and involved over 500 students from about 120 different campuses around the world, across 20 countries. And that obviously connected me with a number of musical people around the world. And then COVID hit, and these kind of virtual collaborations became even more important with COVID, where musicians were suddenly having to record remotely and work together over platforms like Zoom and Teams to connect, to find a way to connect where they weren't able to get together otherwise. And MAST was just really formed to support musicians like that initially. I reached out to some guys I knew in the UK and Europe and North America, and we started recruiting musicians and support teams to make it happen, and it just grew from there. But it's been inspiring to be able to build a passionate team of volunteers and musicians who are all working together for the one common purpose, which is to empower amateur musicians to produce high-quality music for our community to enjoy.
So tell me a bit more about Trove. What's the purpose of Trove?
Yeah, so Trove is our community music app. It's a platform where our community can listen to music that's more in line with our Christian values. It's mostly covers, but we do have an increasing number of originals being written by talented musicians in the Brethren community. And it's great to see the quality and the quantity increasing through that platform. We have a wide range of genres, ranging from rock to reggae and country to classical and much more.
So Hannah, obviously as a mum, you're probably doing a fair bit of monitoring of the sort of content your own kids are consuming, whether it's music or other screen time or whatever. Does Trove make that a bit easier for you? Or?
Yes, it definitely does make it a bit easier. And I'm thankful for anything that helps me monitor what my kids are consuming. In that way, it's no different from parents in the wider community ensuring that their children aren't exposed to inappropriate content. Kids are getting devices at younger ages these days, and I think it's a global concern, not one that's just within our community.
And Bill, going by what you're telling me, your involvement in MAST and Trove seems pretty significant, but you do all that in a voluntary capacity? Or?
Yeah, it's a big volunteer role. It's been a bit of a challenge to balance it at times with family and business commitments, but it's good to be able to give back and to give these young creatives a voice and a purpose, something to aim for.
Well, certainly a lot on top of your role that you mentioned earlier, that you're the CEO of your own company.
Yeah, it can be a stretch, but I actually made a decision several years back to put aside a couple of hours each day to be able to give back and volunteer for something in the community, and that's what I've done. It's something we're very passionate about in the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church.
You know, as you say, we are passionate about volunteering, and just more recently, the church has come under a fair bit of focus for the way many of our parishioners did volunteer in the last Australian federal election. Did you, either of you, get involved in volunteering? Or?
Yes, I did some door knocking and helped out at a couple of street stalls in my local electorate.
And what was the experience like for you, Bill?
Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. It was rewarding and interesting, talking to a wide range of voters, young and old. I remember one lady I spoke to, she used to be a lifelong Liberal voter, but she decided not to vote Liberal this time because she didn't agree with their position on the environment. And she actually gave me some quite specific feedback, which I passed on to the local Liberal office, and it was taken on board. The overall experience I found was, very interesting. We had some great debates, constructive debates with voters, always respectful. We don't always share the same opinions, but we can agree to disagree, and I found it really worthwhile. Ultimately, that's how I think the democratic process should operate.
What about you, Hannah? Do you get involved in volunteering? Or?
Well, I was pretty fired up ahead of the last election. I personally thought a change of government was what the country needed. My grocery bills and energy bills were going up, and the cost of living is ridiculous. There were also some Labor policies around tax and superannuation that I didn't like, but I hadn't been involved in the campaign at all. And then I heard the Prime Minister say on national television he called our church a cult, and that really hurt me. I knew it wasn't true. The Plymouth Brethren Christian Church is not a cult. And so I think I said to you, Bill, where do I get a Liberal T-shirt? And the next day I went to one of the closest pre-polling booths to our house, who were very thankful for extra volunteers, and I introduced myself and said, how can I help? And so I did that in my capacity as an Australian citizen, as a resident, as a mother and a voter of my local area, that being the Bennelong electorate.
Well, I think in the same press conference, the Prime Minister said that the Brethren must have been promised something from the Liberal Party. What do you have to say to that?
It's unfair and it's untrue. No one told us you must be blue. I believed in the policies that the Liberal Party was running with, and that's what I was talking to other voters about. I genuinely believed that the Liberal policies would benefit my family and the lives of all Australians. Whether I choose to volunteer for the Liberal Party again is my choice. I would definitely find it hard to volunteer with a red Labor shirt after all I've heard them say about us and our church. But on that, I think, maybe they have been misinformed. And if the Prime Minister wanted to have a chat with an open mind, I'd be more than happy to meet him.
And there's also been some reports about bad behaviour on polling booths, and some of it's been pinned on the church. Was that your experience?
No, I didn't see anything like that at all. And also, not every Liberal volunteer was a member of the Plymouth Brethren either. In fact, I had some volunteers and voters being a bit hostile and rude to me because I was wearing the Liberal T-shirt. I think that everybody should look at their own behaviour as an individual and should engage in politics in a friendly and respectful way.
Well, members of the church have also been criticised about the fact that we traditionally haven't voted. But did either of you vote? Or?
Yeah, well, I'm a voter and I care about politics. I've been passionate about politics since I was about 11, actually. My public school had a unique student leadership program for Year 6, which was school parliament, based on the way that a parliament in Australia is structured. So toward the end of Year 5, we had to come up with a campaign name, a slogan, hang up posters, and ultimately give a speech in front of the whole school and parents and teachers so that they could cast their votes. I didn't make it to Prime Minister or even Deputy, but I was voted in as a school parliamentarian and became Minister for Fundraising for that year, which looked after all functions and fundraising events in the school, things like discos and fetes, that type of thing. Overall, a very educational experience, which I really enjoyed. And I think it's probably why I still like to follow and know what's going on in Australia and the world politically.
Well, another common misconception is that women in the church are treated as equal or with respect. I've got an idea you probably don't agree with that, Hannah.
I definitely disagree with it. It's not been my experience at all. I've never felt at a disadvantage being a girl or a woman in the church. I have a choice and a say over every aspect of my life, and I live a very full and happy life. I also have a lot of great women friends in the church who are energetic, passionate, driven and talented.
And Bill, what would you say about persons that say that women in the church are treated as second-class citizens?
It's simply not true. We believe in care and compassion for all, and we strive to see everyone prosper. as you can see, my wife has a voice and is free to share her opinion, and her opinion is listened to and respected. She's a director in our business. She gives 110%. She loves volunteering and helping people out, and we're a team in our household. I've also worked with many Brethren women, both in my own business and as a volunteer, and they're always highly valued team members who do a great job and really excel at whatever they turn their hand to, whether it be winning a sale, running a project, or performing a song.
Well, there's other negative things said in the media from time to time or online about our most senior leader, Mr. Bruce Hales. Both of you know the family. What's your experience been with the Hales family, Hannah?
The criticism is so far from the reality. They're kind, respectful and generous people. It's hard to sum up the amount of respect I have for them in a couple of sentences, but I know the family well and have experienced their kindness firsthand. An example is when I was quite unwell after the birth of one of our children, and Mrs. Hales heard about it and she cooked us a delicious meal and delivered it to us personally. Mr. Bruce Hales and his wife and children have all taken a very kind and caring interest in me and my family, and they have never expected anything in return. Would you agree, Bill?
Absolutely. Yeah, they took an interest in me when I was having a bit of a tough patch a few years back, and the way they make you feel, they lifted me up. They just, the values they portray is just care and compassion. They make you feel respected and inspired.
It hurts us to see these negative things said when we know that it's not true.
And finally, what's the best part about being part of the PPCC?
Oh, there's so many. The connections around the world, the network that we have. I could go walk into anyone's home from the community on the other side of the world and feel instantly at home there, instantly comfortable. I've got hundreds of friends around the world. There's the singing, of course. I think that brings us together. But ultimately, for me, it's the safe and trusted environment I can raise my children in.
Yeah, I agree. I would say it's a wonderful community full of very good people, and that's why we wanted to speak up today on their behalf.
Thanks, Hannah and Bill. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And if you'd like to leave us a 5-star review, we'd love to have it.